relax, it's decaf. So the problem with the other way to play the E, and why it isn't there probably, is because it goes into a partial pattern. So starting the E shape, let's go up to the keyboard here. So looking at the big E shape right there, 7 root 2, we can do right there 7 root 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 root 2, 3, 4. That's our S4L right there. But then at that point we kind of have to do a warped partial S3L. That's kind of doubly complicated. It's so much easier with the E to play it the way I have it phrased down here for two reasons. One, we don't have a partial because we've defined single string shapes and we've given them a promotion. What they got now is they define, and of course they always did define, the cage shape. So we've got the string shape on the bottom. It's completely a good idea to start with the string shape if we can, and then take it into that S2L. We still have to warp that S3L up, but it's not a partial pattern. Oh, the wife's home. Okay. So she's home and she's going to go collect eggs. I thought she already collected them. That's what I get for exhuming. Don't exhume. Alright, so let's look at these shapes. So these are the shapes. So I hope you understand now that, you know, I've got them colored to the color bars. So we can start with the C. We played that. In caged, C goes to A. A, we actually played that. We have an S4L sandwich, and that works. 5, 6, and then an S4L with the warped 4th string warped up, and then this one has another 5, 6. This is another good idea substitution because the top and the bottom string are doubled anyway. So you might as well do it. Another way to look at this sometimes is just start a shape you're familiar with from that other string. So you look at the second string. The second string in the A box is essentially an E string. And then you can always fake it till you make it. So we're on the 5th string. String shapes go up in 5ths, not 4ths. So the 5th of the E shape, the 5th of the D shape is A shape. Let's continue on. So we've got C, A, let's look at the G box. And we also want to get to some modals and some playings, and playing's always fun. So the G box is now blue. It's going to be a big old S5L and then a string shape defining string on the top. This is the wonderful use of the S1G. And over here the S1D, we're going to use these whenever we can to make things work. So we've got the S2L and the S3L, or we have the S5L. Alright, so they come in handy. For instance, with the D, as a matter of fact, I think it'd be a good idea to skip over to the D because in last time's lesson we almost got to D and we didn't. We start with the S3L. The D is the Dorian. D for Dorian. I happen to have one handy down a little lower than our friend the E. Our friend the E minor. Now if I play this and do the D shape, I get a D major. Okay, but if I want, this is a really nice D minor in the key of C. Or it's a D in the major, the D major. Isn't that wonderful? It can be one or the other, but the same, pretty much the same string shape. So in pentatonic, we're not going to hit the fourth. So we're not going to get that minor quality. We're skipping over the major and the minor definers. So we got that S3, S3S, and then we have an S2L warped up, and then we go to the beginning of an S3S again. So that is patterns going off the board. But the patterns I have arranged for us here do not go off the board. So you don't have to just take a partial pattern. That's what I'm trying to get away from. Although I fully understand partial patterns, they're not as easy to work with, you know, when no string, no play. So when you got a guy on TV or YouTube telling you it's really a 14 string pattern, that's not going to help you once you go after 6 strings. You know, she's got to start imagining patterns underneath and patterns above, and you've got this window called the fretboard. I've done all that analysis to see some of the trends and see what things are supposed to be doing. So we've defined some 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 string patterns and 1 string patterns, and we're going to put them together to make the 5 caged shapes. And you can do anything, any of the 12 tones in any of the 5 shapes, and that's how you get everything. It's just that you can't play a note that's lower than the lowest note on the fretboard, you know, that kind of thing. There's some endpoints, you know, to respect, some limits. So let's look at the D then. We've got an S3L. So the D would be like, if we were playing like a D minor or something, or just a G shape, we'll find ourselves, okay, where is that D minor? Oh my goodness. Well, we know where the D minor is. It's right up here in the key of C. And if you're lucky enough to be able to get below that C, so you're actually an octave up here. You can get that D below there. I don't know why people want to play higher notes faster. Probably because they're harder to identify, so play them faster. You can get kind of a different effect. But down here, so the D again is going to be an S3L and an S2L. Alright, that's the diatonic, the D pentatonic. Alright, remember that D pentatonic or even the D tritonic, that could be a root, it could be the 4th, or it could be the 5th. Alright, so it's the root of the key of D, it's the 4th of the key of A, and it's the 5th of the key of G. If you know your intervals, you can sound them out. The other day I was singing guitar intervals and violin intervals in my car, and I felt like I was playing the instrument itself, like something had opened up my octave range, because I know what that 5th is supposed to sound like.